Jake, that's right. The Clinton campaign has been watching these Wisconsin results come in, and the delegate race, of course, is tight there. But the reality is they're running out of patience. So they're going to begin deploying a new strategy. It's going to be called disqualify him, defeat him, and then they can unify the party later. For the last several months, the Clinton campaign has been first ignoring Bernie Sanders, then dismissing him. Now they are going to go headlong into him, I'm told, beginning here in the New York primary in 2 weeks on his gun record, on other things. So party unity aside for now, one aide told me that will come later. They're going to start trying and defeating Bernie Sanders, so that scenario that you saw play out there on John's wall does not come true. The Clinton campaign is running out of patience. They want to stop Bernie Sanders and move on to the fall campaign.
Moments ago, Bernie Sanders said this about Hillary Clinton at a campaign rally in Philadelphia.
She has been saying lately that she thinks that I am, quote unquote, not qualified to be president. Well, let me just say in response to Secretary Clinton, I don't believe that she is qualified. If she is through her super PAC taking tens of millions of dollars in special interest funds.
It's going to be called disqualify him, defeat him, and then they can unify the party later.
Earlier today on Morning Joe, Hillary Clinton was asked whether Bernie Sanders is qualified to be president of the United States.
Do you think he is qualified, and do you think he is able to deliver on the things he is promising to all of these Democratic voters?
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. I think that what he has been saying about the core issue in his whole campaign doesn't seem to be rooted in an understanding of either the law or the practical ways you get something done.
And his attack on her, or his comment that she's not qualified, certainly came off what his campaign is calling her out for it, claiming that she kind of began it by saying on Morning Joe's show that he's not qualified, which I think is not a fair reading of her remarks. So it's kind of like an exploitation of a misunderstanding.
Disqualify him.
Jonathan Allen, I did not hear Hillary Clinton say to Joe Scarborough this morning that Bernie Sanders is, quote unquote, not qualified. And that's the phrase that Bernie Sanders used. He actually used that word, quote unquote, not qualified. What she did was very artfully not answer the question, is he qualified? And that's something that politicians will frequently do in these kinds of situations. Did Bernie Sanders fall into the trap of using this phrase, thinking incorrectly that Hillary Clinton had used the phrase, because she did not use those words?
Disqualify him, defeat him.
I think here's a guy who basically made up her saying something and put quote marks around it and said she said this.
It's going to be called disqualify him, defeat him, and then they can unify the party later. For the last several months, the Clinton campaign has been first ignoring Bernie Sanders, then dismissing him. Now they are going to go headlong into him, I'm told, beginning here in the New York primary in 2 weeks.
But I think Bernie Sanders' response is kind of, just out of the mainstream, out of the norm, and something that's it's kind of hard to understand, other than he's getting hit pretty hard for the first time, and this is his response.
And that his campaign also is sending out an email fundraiser this evening based on the premise that Hillary Clinton is saying that he's not qualified. So,
I mean, let's say based on the lie, David, right? I mean, it's not even a premise, right? I mean, it's just, you made it up.
Yeah, you call it whatever you like. But
I mean, this particular phrase is very deliberately avoided because down the road, it can become impossible to create party unity if this is hanging in there, if this language is out there between the two campaigns.
Party unity aside for now, one aide told me that will come later. They're going to start trying and defeating Bernie Sanders, so that scenario that you saw play out there on John's wall does not come true.